Pochita has finally graduated into being a dog, and I don't mean like a big dog or Snoop Dogg or even Scooby-Doo. Nah, this idiot of a boy finds himself turned into a goddamn Akita Inu. He is taken in by his Asian baddie classmate Karen Inukai, and to make matters worse, his neutered eggplant has an insane crush on her, so the idiot agrees to be her pet. This anime has got to be some weird Discord mod's ultimate fantasy. Perplexed by the situation, anime's #1 simp, aka AniRizzler, and no, I don't mean me, wonders why he woke up in the middle of the street and finds his helpless self in the arms of his crush, who declares that from that second forward he'd be her pet. He recognizes her as Inukai, it's raining, so he sees through her shirt, and for the love of God, those melons would turn me to a dog too. She's got the prettiest psychopath smile on her that transforms into a chilling, gruesome look, as her mother called up to her and told her to go take her bath. She's jealous of the dog she said she just rescued and will take up to shower with her. All of a sudden, she begins to do her thing right in front of him. The foolish monkey tried to look away in the name of being decent, but the innate instinct of a man won't let his eyes close. She picks him up and takes him into the shower. I would give anything to be Cardi B's bath dog buddy right now. She takes him with her into the tub and plays like a little baby, splashing water all around with her legs. Just then, she does something that makes my ears waggle. Her mother ruins the moment as she calls Inukai for dinner. After dinner, Mother asked if he could do any tricks, and before we go on, let me take this moment to appreciate the beautiful evolution of melons that happened between Inukai and her mom. Inukai had bigger melons, that's the kind of evolution I like. Inukai says he's just a puppy and can't do any tricks. She takes the dog inside, puts it on the floor, and asks him to sit. He made her happy as he obeys her and sits. She stretches her hand, and he puts his little paws in her hand, which makes her happier. She named him Pochita. Yeah, I know what a dumb name. I would want to be called Vegeta if I was the dog personally. The next day, he's confronted with an animal's greatest enemy, the doorknob. He's planning to go visit his room at home, but seems to have forgotten that he's on all fours and can't even reach the damn doorknob. He tries all he can to get to the doorknob, and all of a sudden, Inukai picks him up and asks if he wants to go outside. This idiot is busy thinking it's a date. They're finally on their walk, and Pochita is hit with the annoying reality that everything is way bigger than it used to be now. That's what my ex said after I hit puberty for the second time. They reach a less crowded area, and before dumb Pochita can finish thanking his stars, Inukai begins to run. Instead of running and enjoying the view, Pochita is busy worrying about the fact that he can see vanilla with a touch of strawberry buns with blue peach covers. Dumb Pochita saves her from being hit by a baseball flying her way. She sings the songs of angels for a moment and pulls him out of there and says that's not for him. The kids playing the baseball cane around for their ball. Inukai returns their ball but cautions them about dogs walking through the park. Pochita has to take a leak. Inukai takes him close to a pole. Despite the conflictions of not having any privacy, he proceeds to pee on the pole, and Inukai took about 100 pictures as he peed. They get back home and it looks like Inukai is reading. Dumb Pochita, on the other hand, was looking for ways to convey his feelings to her. Bold of the foolish bum to think he could do it now that he's a dog better than when he was human. Just then, Nekotani, Neko for shorts, came in, but she was scared of dogs. They're here to study, and without further ado, Inukai settles to begin with Neko's least favorite subject, math. Pochita imagines a chance for him to abscond using Neko as bait. Inukai's mom came and called her away. This gave room to the foolish dog to try and pull out his amazing plan of trying to get home, the last place that he felt human. He put his plan in motion to get Neko's attention, but immediately he went close to her. She screamed, ran to the wall, and began crying. Well, it's not every day you see a cutie that's afraid of a little doggy. Usually they like that position. The pup himself wonders how she's at the verge of a cardiac give-up just in sight of him. She ran to the bed where she's met with a more gruesome terror but doesn't know or feel it because of her fear of dogs. The centipede climbed onto her. Dumb Pochita has no choice but to climb the bed in order to save the day, but Neko jumped off the bed and ran into the hallway. She falls, and the centipede uses this opportunity to run into her clothes. Paw Patrol to the rescue! Pochita quickly jumps into her clothes in search of the centipede. In her subconscious, she mutters the Song of the Angels. When she gained consciousness, she threw dumb Pochita a distance, but at that time, the dog mission was already done. Pochita notices her bruised knee and walks up to her, though she's frightened to the bone, with a gaze that's more intimidating than my mother's when she can't find the beef she left in the pot. Inukai stands there, looking at them and sending ice-cold shivers down their spines. Inukai moves towards them and purposely hits her toe on the wall. She sat down on the floor and took off her paw pop socks. She screams the song of angels, and before Neko could wrap her head around what's happening, Inukai was standing in front of her with Levi's kind of bloodlust eyes and asks what in God's name she was doing with her dog while she was gone. Neko tells her that dumb Pochita. She crawls on all fours and barks like a dog. The very foolish dog questions why she's putting on that costume and acts like a dog while I'm here with a supercell-charged eggplant. Pochita gives the dog translator a try. Immediately she reads what's on it. She faints out of dramatic shock. Dumb Pochita pulls closer to read what's on the dog translator, and like he doubted at first, this thing didn't convey any message. Instead, this machine lies that he said he ain't messing with humans who like cute sidle poodles. Her mother caught in the act and she immediately switched it to a push-up position and says that's what she's getting at. Constructive and impressive. Her mother leaves, she sits up and asks Pochita if she's being weird. Dumb Pochita thinks back to when he was human, he was always alone, and when he was on garden duty, Inukai told him he's not weird for liking things that aren't normal, and ever since then, he's been head over heels in love with her. Neko calls and offers for them to study at her place, saying it'll be a great opportunity for Inukai to walk Pochita. Pochita came back from school late and went to sleep straight, and that's when that monkey decided to ploy his escape. He climbed onto the bed to execute the first phase of his plan, which is to send a delivery package to Neko's house while they're there, so he'll use that opportunity to run away. He just has to get to Inukai's phone, but he gets caught up in her arms as she sleeps. He begins to lick his way out of her arms. He licks her fingers and she sings the song of the angels so intensely. He's finally free from her arms that were holding him to her melons. He uses her finger to open her phone and he realizes that she's been doing a part-time job so she can take care of him. He covers her with her blanket as he wonders if he really needs to go back to being human. Before they arrive at Neko's place the next day, Inukai cautions dumb Pochita about being all cozy with Neko. Inukai picks up Pochita as she climbs up a flight of stairs. They arrive at Neko's place, and before they begin to study, Neko proposes that they play a little game. This was Doggy's chance to abscond, but just as he's about to make a break for it, he sees Inukai's leg searching for him. She couldn't feel him and went under the table. She held him by the tail and massaged it like an eggplant job. Damn! But he slips away and ran towards the door where he encounters Neko. He remembers that she's still terrified of him and he barks at her. She falls down and he continues barking at her. His sole purpose is to make that cowardice fine girl to run for it, but it seems just barking is not enough. He jumps on her and continues barking. Jealous, Inukai comes from behind and tells them they're flirting with each other right in front of her. Before she could get the opportunity to display her jealousy, they hear the doorbell and it's Pochita's first phase of his plan. The mailman came just in time with the package he ordered with Inukai's phone just last night. He uses the opportunity of their distraction to bolt outside. His apartment is just beside Neko's and he plans to jump the balconies. The foolish idiot has forgotten to place in the factor of him being a dog in his plan. He tried to use his tiny 4 legs to make the jump, but before he did, he realizes that he wouldn't make it and might not make it back alive too. Neko came along and he quickly remembered how she threw him off when he tried to get to Centipede off her, and at this point, she throws him off her and he lands of his balcony at the other side. And he sees a figure, but that's not his parent. It was a friend of his from school, Usagi. Before she could sight him, he hid under her long Holy Mary gown. She bent down to place a flower on the balcony. He walked in between her legs as she went about his room scavenging for goods. She got to his table and sobs over the fact that he's missing. All the while, he's been underneath her locomotives and glancing at her peach. Just then, she began to rub her peach at the edge of the table, calling out his name and singing the song of the angels. She was about to reach the moment of bliss, but was interrupted as a voice calls for her. It's Pochita's human mom, and she tells Usagi that it's time to go. She also thanks Usagi for helping them look for their son and also taking care of his plants. Lol, she's taking care of more than plants. Pochita was still walking under Usagi's dress. Usagi suddenly stops and then notices the dog under her dress. Dumb Pochita ran out of the dress. It was raining, she took him in her arms and took Pochita home. While on the way, dumb Pochita saw Inukai and Neko searching for him, but he could not bark out loud for them to hear him. Poor dog. She eventually took him home and she immediately fell face flat to the ground. Pochita checks her temp and sees that she's running a very high temperature. He immediately pulled off her cloth while fighting the temptation of looking at her. He runs to her room, admires it, and grabs a few clothes and puts them over her. He then picked a string with triangles and put it on her. She was all up in her subconscious, having a good time with her senpai. That's that she called Pochito when he was human. She was singing the songs of angels and saying she loves him. Just then, Neko and Inukai rang the doorbell, opened the door, and said they were looking for a dog. The glaring look on Inukai's face and the innocent look on Usagi's face is just thrilling. We see clips of dumb Pochita when he was still human. It was Valentine's Day, and he wondered why his stupid mind was expecting any gifts from Inukai. That's when a girl, so short that he couldn't see her face, offered him some chocolate, saying it was from Inukai. He dashed home, ate, and kept some of the chocolate for later. He immediately felt a bit fuzzy, then he passed out. Pochita remembers how he became a dog now when he woke up and Inukai grabbed him into her arms. Inukai had placed a tracker on him and that's how she located him. Usagi mistakenly says that he's her dog and Inukai, with an aura that matches and surfaces that of the TMNT White Eyes Serious mode, gives exact number of hair on Pochito's body including the number of tail wags in different conditions. Neko asked for a better proof of ownership and she says that her shirt is Pochito's home. Usagi quickly breaks the information that he helped her take off her including her little strings and put on new ones for her. Inukai grabbed her dog and said it was hers. The two ladies struggle with dumb Pochita in their middle and in a situation I'd like to call a Melanie heaven. Neko runs a test to prove who's the owner of the dog. I'll be doing this in a resting commentator's voice. Let the games begin! The two ladies set their territory and as Usagi celebrates, her cheat bone fell on the floor and she's disqualified immediately and the winner is the one and only Inukai! Usagi declares that the games are not over and she'll be back for round 2. Inukai takes her trophy dog and strides away like the champion she is. Knowing that the one who transformed him into this four-legged creature is in school, Pochita tries to sneak his way into school by hiding Inukai's bag, as if she won't tell the weight difference if he's in the bag. His plan is foiled as she sees him trying to fit into her bag. She can't take him to school because dogs aren't allowed. After he rolls on the floor, she takes him anyways. At school, she instructs him not to jump out of her bag. In class, everyone is laser-focused and dumb. Pochita wonders if this is the best op for him to make a run for it. He doesn't get the chance too. Next time he saw the light of day, he was in the girls' changing room. If this cow... No, let's not call him that. If this good man has not made any good choices in life, he has just made one right now. It's a heaven of buns. Vanilla buns, banana buns, strawberry buns, chocolate buns. Next time he sees the light of day again, it was lunchtime. She eats alone, which is contrary to what he always thought of her when he was human. They return back to class and he sees the lady that gave him the chocolate. He jumped out of the bag to chase her but is confronted with a terrible plague. A plague of all the fine ladies in class. Wait, is this an all-girls school? They surrounded him. He tried to use evasive maneuvers to go through them and get to the girl, but the crowd was just way past his power. It wasn't long before one of the ladies enveloped him in her melons. He finally gets an idea from the chalkboard. He jumps to the floor and begins to roll. This gives the girls a wonderful idea of a dog cafe festival. They all send in their hands to scuffle his soft hair. They begin to ask for the owner of the dog. Inukai comes out of nowhere and says Pochita should cry for her attention. She kept on saying that dumb Pochita should beg for mommy, and he realized that this raggedy lil attention seeker won't stop unless he cries for her. He finally puts up his paws and cries for her. Everyone waited a few seconds for him to do so, and when he did, they all clapped and called him a good boy. They gather around him and pub his stomach while Inukai just stands there looking. Someone tells her she has to bring him to the dog cafe, saying he's cute, adorable, and a good boy. Everyone has quickly bought the idea of a dog cafe and bringing up new ways to make it better. Usagi peeks through the glass wall. Everyone started prepping for the school festival and brought their dogs to familiarize with the class environment. Today they'll be making paper chains. Pochita is still in the heart of his plan and is just waiting for the right moment to make a break for it. Inukai was sitting up a flight of stairs doing her part of the festival prep work, while the monkey was busy planning his own endeavors. Neko came around and said she's got her hands on something too, asking why Inukai isn't working with the others and is seated alone. Inukai informs her that dumb Pochita is with her. She freaks out and mistakenly slips on glue. The glue sticks to her cloth. Inukai runs off to go get something to take the glue off. Then all the other dogs begin to bark at Neko because she smells like hot dogs. She slips again, and this time, Pochita's paws were glued to... My brain reduced the speed to extra slow motion as I wonder if she'll mistakenly be... She bolts away at the speed of light after freeing herself of the She's still holding the collar rope and is pulling Pochita along. She eventually falls and tangles herself with the dog's collar rope. Dumb Pochita was stuck in between her locomotives. In a bid to draw himself out, she sings the Song of Angels as he wiggles himself out from there. She makes my ears tingle with her songs. She wakes up and hides at the corner where she shows Pochita a picture from her childhood when Inukai had a big dog. She says the dog should be the reason why she's so scared of dogs, and since the dog died, he hasn't seen Inukai smile so much. She gets up and says dumb Pochita must be human because he's too smart to be an ordinary dog. She's contemplating if he's a real dog or a real person. Those lines of thoughts quickly take a pause as all the dogs show up again and begin to chase the foolish girl. Pochita managed to climb into her back because even though she was running for her life, she pulled him along with her too. He quickly thought of a way to make her stop giving off sausage party vibe. He used her ears to navigate her to the swimming pool area. She jumps into the pool and the dogs finally back off. This proves that dumb Pochita is just as smart as a human. She pulled out of the water and her melons were all outside of it. Inukai returns with a wipe that she brought to clean the glue off, but now she's met the recent development of Neko and Pochita. Inukai accuses Neko of purposely taking dumb Pochita into the pool to get all with him. Neko said she fell in and Pochita only came to save her. Neko began dry herself up in front of dumb Pochita and Inukai. Inukai catches Pochita by the tail as he wags it 1,000,000 times per second, watching Neko as she dries herself up. Inukai helped Neko dress her hair. Inukai wasn't feeling so sure of her artwork for the festival. Dumb Pochita went into the class and got some paint on his paws and printed all over her artwork. Inukai came in and showed the class what she had done for the day, and everyone was amazed and quickly said they'd go and have their dogs print on what they did too. Inukai says it's not her idea but Pochita's. Watching Inukai feel so embarrassed, he realized that she doesn't know how to talk to people. Usagi came out of nowhere with a stunning bunny suit. Neko asked her why she's dressed that way. Inukai came in saying that Pochita likes huge melons and making his way into peach covers. Usagi proposed a competition saying if the bunny cafe makes more money than theirs, then she'll have possession of Pochita. If the dog cafe wins, then Usagi will never bother dumb Pochita ever again. It's the D-Day. Everyone is dressed and ready to make the day happen. Pochita admires Inukai's marvelous buns from underneath, thinking to himself how amazing they look. She looks back and tells him not to stare. He's not worse than Meliodas from the 7 Deadly Sins. That bro was a true Rizzler and an almighty simp lord who messed up the kingdom of hell to be with an angel. Customers started coming in. Inukai held it together so as not to explode and lash out at anyone who pats her dog. Dumb Pochita was just chilling, waiting for the mystery girl to arrive. Suddenly the place looked empty, like a scene from Attack on Titan after a Titan attack. Then a lady opens the door and says the Bunny Cafe is stealing all their customers. Just as everyone's hard work was about to be smashed to smithereens, Inukai spoke up, saying the dogs should give foot baths using Pochita's strong tongue as an example. Usagi ran in to check on the doggy cafe, and Inukai immediately invited her as the first recipient of a doggy tongue bath. She reached the peak and fell off the chair. Other ladies came and received tongue lashings from different dogs. This is like a weird version of K-On! The one Pochita had been waiting for arrived. She questioned how Inukai would feel if she found out her dog was human. She ordered coffee and continued pricking Inukai with the question, but the girl didn't really budge. She held it together until she finally left. The mystery lady got up and left. Inukai fell to her knees, and one of the other girls rushed to ask what's up. Dumb Pochita quickly ran after the lady with his 2 little tiny pairs of legs like Naruto chasing Sasuke. He followed her out of school to a whole new building. He ran into the building without thinking twice and saw her sitting at a table, waiting for him. Seen the climax of Detective Conan? That's what this feels like. She called out his human name as he arrived. Inari Sakihira, she said with a sly smile. Pochita was stunned that she knew his name, and this reminds me of when Light realized L was watching him in Death Note. She congratulated him, laughing and saying it took him about 2 months to unravel the mystery of his transformation. She then reveals a huge screen that she's been using to monitor him all this while. This feels like something out of Death Note, doesn't it? Imagine that she giggles and says, "Don't worry, I'm not here to write your name in any notebook." He looked from screen to screen like he's in a Sword Art Online situation. He wonders how she set up all these cameras all over the place. She replied, pulling out a small device saying, "I'll tell you a super easy way to turn human again, but first bite this." She put the device in his mouth. "How do you like your fun Lil Valentine? That sounded so cool." Back in grade school, she was the one who invented the doggy translation device, popularly known as Doglingus. What he's biting on now is the same, but it's automatic. She pulled up a screen and showed him a picture from the first day, when Inukai had just picked him up from the street and they had their bath together. She kept on showing pictures of their moments together. This is like My Hero Academia, only instead of quirks you got dogified. She began to show him every time he I swear, this is like Fruits Basket, but with more awkwardness. He confessed that he really wanted to tell Inukai that he loves her. Then the thought hit him. Why hasn't he done that before? She broke the news to him that he'd have to break the curse or he'd have to eat her peach. I vote for eating her peach, I would have said mischievously and smiled, though I bet you feel otherwise. Something snapped in him and he decided not to kiss anyone if it was going to help her experiment. Bro was nope, not doing this kiss X sis stuff. He made this known and broke the device in his mouth. As he thought back on her words, he ran into Inukai, who had been searching for him. This is like Naruto and their never-ending quest for self-realization. He affirmed to himself that Inukai would never kiss him, but she went in for the and shocker, he was still a dog. Still living the good life as Inukai's dog, Inukai said she'd start treating him like a baby and proceeded to carry him, placing him in the soft, heavenly comfort of her melons. Reminds me of how angry and jealous Sanji the fry cook and Brook the pop star was when Momonosuke came around as a child and enjoyed an ample amount of screen time on Nami's melons. Usagi couldn't be around to thank them for helping her when she was asleep, but she came at the right time because Inukai was about to Pochita. She pulled out her lemons and Usagi did the same. Before they could tell A from B, everyone's melons were already pointing out in front of Pochita, beckoning him to feed on one. Inukai took dumb Pochita swimming at a pool. Neko is running from behind. She's being chased by a dog. She jumps into the pool and incidentally pulls off Inukai's melon covers. Let's roll it back to the top, shall we? Inukai gets home and decides to check her weight. She decides for them to go up a swimming pool so she could trim her weight. They get into the water and that's how Pochita almost drowned to death. They rush out of the water and lay on mats as dumb Pochita gains consciousness again. They set themselves up to do sit-ups. Neko goes at it effortlessly, but Inukai couldn't because her legs kept coming up. Pochita helps her hold her legs and she begins to sit up easily like a pro. They do squats and all of a sudden a dog comes and chases Neko away. Inukai and dumb Pochita dive back into the pool and that's when Neko ran from behind, jumped into the water and incidentally pulled off Inukai's melon covers, and as if that was not bad enough, Neko's melon covers have pulled off her too. Inukai hands Neko's melon cover to her while Pochita swims to where Inukai's melon cover is and gives it to her. Out of joy, she shoves him into the heavens of her melons before putting on their covers. The owner of the dog that chased Neko comes and apologizes for the discomfort they put her through. On their way back, Neko yells at Inukai to choose a normal pool next time because it seems as if she's dog bait everywhere she goes. Inukai gets home and checks the dog's weight and see that he has lost a few. She climbs the weight scale too and pumps her fists, indicating that the objective of going to the pool was achieved. Pochita is just glad he's the only one who gets to see this side of her. It's the day of the festival. Inukai was given a break. She takes Pochita with her. He's happy that he's about to get a proper school festival date with her. They head out to the open floor where there are counters and a music band livening up the place. They stopped by a vending machine and Usagi came along to greet them. She walks up to Pochita and says they should have a walk around in the park. The jealousy in Inukai boils to the highest degree watching Usagi talk to Pochita like that. Pochita and Inukai stop by a horror room cafe. Usagi is scared to the bone, but her determination beats her fear because she doesn't want to lose a second that she'll spend with Pochita. She goes up front and comes across a skeleton. She screams at the top of her voice. Inukai casually walks up from behind and asks if she's scared. She says she's not, but she's on all fours on the ground. Inukai says she can take all the time she needs on the floor as long as it pleases her. Inukai walks past her and says they'll keep walking ahead. Pochita realizes that Inukai is scared too. Usagi gets up and follows behind and does not realize that her melons are falling out of her costume. Pochita tries to help her by pushing her down. She's tangled in Pochita's rope and can't move for a while. Pochita climbs on her and tries to put her melon covers back for her. Meanwhile, she sings the Song of Angels and acts like she's being hard clappled by Pochita. She reaches and falls to the ground. God, this dog has taken more people to their peak more than I have. All this is happening in the dark and Inukai is also quite scared. Usagi gets on her feet and runs away. Inukai on the other hand and all over the floor. Pochita licks her leg so she knows he's here. Some girls approach them with a torch. Pochita quickly spills the drink that Inukai got from the vending machine all over the floor so it'll cover Inukai's pee. The girls arrive and Inukai realizes what Pochita just did for her. They made it out of there and enjoyed the rest of their break. So he plans on remaining a dog? What a stupid simp.